Hello and welcome to Big Green Roofs. We're doing a workshop today online as part of the Big Green Architecture Draw. My name's Katie Kennedy. I'm leading the workshop today. I hope that you enjoy it. We'd love to see your feedback at the end of the workshop, so please let us know. So, the workshop today is all about junk modelling. We're going to be using recycled materials to create a building, and from that building we are going to create a green roof on top, hence the name Big Green Roofs. The green roof will be made from cress, which we will grow. Obviously that's not an immediate result, so it's something that maybe you could do over some time. You could make the building today or another time, add some decorations slowly over time, and then add the cress and watch it grow over the next 3 or 4 days. However you want to do it, really. To go alongside this workshop, there's a resource that you can download on the Big Draw website, so I'd really recommend getting that. It's got more information on there. It's also got all the materials that you need, some really great ideas for inspiration, space for design, and just really simple instructions that you can follow. You can just have it on your phone or on an iPad. You don't need to print it off. It's an online resource. So I'd really recommend that going along with this. But if you just want to have a go, I'll just introduce the kind of things that we'll need for our workshop. So the idea is, aside from the cress, which you will need to buy if you want to do your big green roof, you'll need some recycled materials. So I just had a dig around in my recycling to see what might be suitable, and I found some different things. So we've got a box, another box, some milk bottle lids, which are really handy and great for growing cress in, as well as adding some interesting shapes and textures to a building that you might design. What else have I got? I've got some yogurt pots, some random poster tubes ending. I've got a hummus pot or a dip pot. What else have I got? Oh, a lid from some fabric conditioner. Just random bits of plastic that you might have from various things. What else have we got? Oh, some foam. I found some foam from a parcel. Thought this might be quite nice. You never know what you could do with it. Some texture for a landscapey thing, whatever you want. So those are the recycled materials. Oh, and another box. Boxes are always good. Obviously, you might want to add some detail or some different things to a box for your design, but as a good starting point, you can't go wrong with a box. So those are my recycled things, which I just dug out, so they're only just going to go in the bin otherwise. What else did I get? We also need some bits for decorating. So you could just go with the plain recycling. You don't have to decorate your building, but for me, it's the fun bit is decorating. So I found some bits of shiny paper, just cut off from something else I was doing. Some funky foam. What else did I find? Oh, some crafty bits, like lolly sticks we said earlier. Maybe some craft tape, some washi tape, or some nice coloured tape that you could use to decorate. Electric tape, it's always nice, big, bold colours. Quite handy for adding some detail. So those are decorating aspects, but you'll also need some things to attach and cut things up. So I've got some scissors, always handy. Some of the things like the hummus pot, you might need a knife to cut. Again, if you're a young person, you might need to ask an adult for some help. So be careful with a craft knife if you are going to use one. Ask someone for help. I've got some double-sided tape, which is just really useful for sticking plastic together. Again, not essential, but if you've got it around the house, you never know. Some sellotape, glue stick, and just, yeah, other random bits. So the other thing to create our green roof, we're going to need some cotton wool. The cotton wool serves as a bed for the cress seeds to sit on and grow. So there's the cotton wool. You could have, I've got cotton wool pads, you could have cotton wool balls, whatever you've got. If you've got some stuff in the house, you could probably use wet kitchen roll as well. You'd have to double check that, but something like that would be good to put your cress seeds on. And then some cress, which I purchased online. It was a couple of quid plus postage. It was really cheap. Yeah, and I was worried about the seasons. It seems to grow inside at any time of the year, so don't worry about that. So yeah, those are all the things that you'll need. I'm just going to put those to one side for now. So we've got all our things ready. The next thing we need to think about is our building design. We're going to create a building with a green roof. What is it going to look like? What do you want it to look like? Perhaps you've got a building that you love, that you might be inspired by, that you see around, or a famous iconic building that you know from a city skyline, and you might think, oh, it might be fun to create a model of that and then add a green roof on top so we can see the shard with some cress growing on top or something similar like that. That might be fun. So that's one idea. Or you might want to design a beautiful house, something like you might see on Grand Designs or something like that. A modern house with a roof made from succulents, or in our case, cress. So think about how you want your building to look. You might have some ideas already. If not, again, like I said, check the resource. There's some really beautiful buildings on there, green roof buildings, some really dynamic, interesting shapes, trees growing up buildings, triangles, circles, hills, really lovely ideas that you could use as your inspiration. Another great way to start thinking of ideas is thinking about the things that you have in front of you. So for me, I had the box. Perhaps I'll use this big box as my starting point, and then I'll add some interesting elements to it. So your interesting elements could be your decoration, it could be your funky paper, your funky foam, whatever you want to stick onto it, or it could be the shapes that you stick onto it, or it could be something really simple like just putting a bit of white paper over the top and using some colouring pens, some pencils, and adding to it that way. So you could just simply decorate it with your own drawings and give it some texture in that way. So I'm probably going to use that as a starting point. Now, because we are adding a green roof, we need to think about where our green roof is going to sit as well. So make sure, if you are going to do something crazy or interesting and dynamic, make sure that you've got a space that's flat for your seeds to sit on. So perhaps avoid something with a sharp angle, or something you want the seeds to go on the side. That's probably not going to work. So you want to think about having a flat surface that you can use like that. Also, to bear in mind, you'll need to water the seeds. So if your elements for your green roof buildings are made of paper, perhaps if I was to use this and put the seeds on top of this, it would get soggy, it wouldn't work so well. Hence, milk bottle lids, top tip, are really great for growing cress in. So that's a good starting point. So maybe I'll start with a box like this and add some elements onto it, and then maybe add another box or two to the side, or maybe going up like this, or maybe cantilever to the side. It's up to you completely. And then maybe I'll have a yogurt pot somewhere, or maybe the hummus dip pot there, so I can grow some cress in there, maybe some cress around. So I'm using my recycling as the basis of my design, and then you can always adapt and cut and change the shape as how you want it. So I'm just going to do a quick drawing so I've got an idea of what my building might look like. So we've got the initial box, and maybe we'll have another box here, maybe with a yogurt pot on top, and then maybe a smaller box here again. So I'm thinking about the different shapes of what we could use. So, and then I'll add some decoration. So I'm going to potentially grow some crests here, and maybe have some milk bottle lids here, and maybe the hummus pot here. And then these are all my spaces for my crest to grow. And then add some dynamic, exciting decoration on there. So that's my basic design, which I will use as my starting point. Okay, so let's start with the main building first. I'll take these away. And obviously this is really simple, straightforward cutting and sticking activity that anyone can get involved with. It's really fun for anyone to do. I've also actually a good, nice way to do some simple, effective, quick decoration is get some images out of a magazine perhaps and collage. They could be architectural images. I found some interesting ones, which you could use to collage onto the side of your building and just give it a different feel. Or you could have both. You could do whatever you want. So I'm just going to cut this one out. We'll measure that up. Cut it out. Add some decoration. Get rid of that. And then I'll just use glue to add on. So there we go. Stick that on. And that's the beginning of my building. And then maybe on this side I've got some foam. I'll maybe add some foam onto there. Maybe use a bit of tape. And then some more tape at the bottom. On this side, I think maybe I'll choose some plain paper. So I can add some decoration onto that one. So again, we'll just tape it on. But it means if you don't have anything exciting lying around the house, which you may or may not, then it's a really quick and easy way of having a plain facade which you can turn into something more exciting. And again, maybe some foam at the top for the crest to sit on. And then maybe some shiny paper on the side. I'm going to stick that on. So we have the basis of one of our buildings. There we go. So that's one. I've done one earlier. Added some more interesting shapes on. I've done a rainbow design on one side. And the shiny paper on this side. And I've added my milk bottle lids here. I've just used some double-sided tape to stick these on so they stay in place and they'll keep the water in nicely. So that's one of my buildings. And then maybe we'll use one of these boxes again, maybe cover them in some shiny paper. Maybe use some nice tape. Got some nice bright red electrical tape. And we'll stick that down. Like so. Again, we'll do something like this. and then maybe use a yogurt pot at the top. So for this yogurt pot, I've got these strips of silver card, which I'd cut out for something else. And actually they wrap really nicely around the yogurt pot. So I'll just take that down, and that can maybe sit on top like that. It's a great thing for the crest to grow, and so our building is beginning to take shape. There's one I made earlier. And they'll go together really nicely. I've used the magazine to collage onto this one just to give it a bit of a different depth. And then for the final one, I'm going to use the hummus pot. So I could use it on another box, potentially like that. That's probably quite deep though, so I'm going to cut that down a little bit. So the crest has got a bit of less space to grow into. Maybe that will sit that way. And they've done one earlier again to match. So we have our junk modelling buildings ready to go, ready to receive the crest seeds. So I'll just put them up like that for now. And those will stay like this. So like I said earlier, the main thing is to remember the plastic to retain the water. Now I've got these cotton wool pads. So for the smaller ones, I've cut one to size. You might want to cut it more exact, like so. And then just place it. You don't need, you know, you just need a thin layer. You don't need loads. There's loads of stuff online about this if you want to have a look as well. And I'm sure lots of people have made eggy crest heads when you use an empty eggshell. Put a ball of cotton wool in and then sprinkle some crest seeds, add a face or some googly eyes, and then leave the eggy crest man to grow. So obviously on a similar vibe. This one's quite large. I'm just going to put the whole cotton wool pad in there. And then for the yogurt pot, because it's deep, I'm just going to fluff out a bit more cotton wool. Just give it a bit more depth. And then stick it in like this, like you would do in the egg. You could always use an egg for your building. That might be nice. So from the top, you can't really see the building, but this is, as I turn them to the side, you can't notice the cotton wool in there at all. So I'll just put that back. And then the next stage is to add your crest seeds. So like I said, I had the crest seeds from online, easy to find. And they come and you actually get loads and loads of seeds. So, I mean, if you really like eating crest, it's great. You won't need very many at all. When I first did my example, I was a bit crazy with the seeds, so I added a bit too many. I'll show you. Those were my first attempts, and I am not a good gardener by any means. And there were just too many of them, so they didn't grow. So they were too densely packed. So there's a tip, don't put too many in. I mean, they just need space for the actual seeds to expand in order to grow, and also to get some water. So not to be on top of each other. So just on the larger one, that's probably enough. You want to get the kind of effect where you know, it looks like a mini forest growing on top of your roof. Then that's probably enough again. I'll just put a few in there and in this one. So the crest seeds are added. And then you need to water. So I found, as a bit of a novice crest grower, that you need to water it every day really. and make sure the cotton wool stays wet. And then you should see some results in probably in 2 or 3 days. The seeds come up really nicely. And I have some from an earlier one I did before. So there's my cress. We add the cress. Add this one here. And there we have knew that was going to happen. There we have our big green roof building. Maybe just show this one. It looks lovely. You can put it on your windowsill, you can grow some cress, you can use up your recycling, have fun, decorate for as long or as little as you want, design, learn about green roof buildings. There's so much to learn about them. They're pretty amazing things. And then the best thing of all is that you get to eat them. You can have your cress for lunch in about a week, not immediately. So yeah, that's our big green roofs. Now, we'd love to see your photos. If you would like to share online using the hashtag #BigGreenArchitectureDraw. We'd love to see your pictures. Obviously, they might not be immediate, but maybe the next few days, once you've done your building, added your cress seeds, starting to see them grow, even if they're just starting to grow, I'd love to see those photos as well. Yeah, add them onto social media. There's lots of information on the Big Draw website where you can find those hashtags, and add it to Instagram or Twitter. And there's lots more stuff going on today, so it's worth having a look on the Big Draw website. Lots of different activities going on this afternoon, and I'll be repeating this one again at 2 o'clock. And the RIBA are doing lots of different things as well over the next few weeks. Half-term workshops in October, online workshops for all different age groups. So check out the website architecture.com if you would like to learn more. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.